Howdy y'all, Fuzzy Biker here. Merry Christmas. It is Christmas morning here in Iowa, and there's no snow on the ground, but it's going to be a great day anyway. Happy holidays, whatever it takes to make you happy out there. I want to thank all of y'all that have watched the channel over the years. You know, you are the reason I started this channel in the first place. I got into this YouTube thing, and y'all have responded quite well. I got into it because I wanted to meet people like myself, people that wanted to ride motorcycles. You know, we are a small part of the society, but we're hard to get a hold of. You know, I lived in a little tiny town, and it was hard to meet people that love motorcycles the way I do. And this channel has allowed us to come together, and made a great hub. And I've met a lot of wonderful people from all over the country, all over the world, quite frankly. And I've been able to, I've been all the way down to Alabama, Ed, all the way out to Connor in Utah, and up to Canada, and over to India, amazingly, India this year. And I really appreciate that. I could not have done any of that without y'all. And I really appreciate y'all. You know, I love all the comments. I love all that wonderful stuff. And a quick shout out to my grandson, by the way. So the like-minded people, all the travel, all the wonderful motorcycles, and all the the bikes I've gotten to see and ride, and that's been a real thank you so much for that. Other things to talk about are like gear and processes. We've been able to learn a lot from each other. I've gotten a lot of information from y'all over the years. People have sent me things or told me things and shared information and experiences, and I've really appreciated that. And okay, going on and on and on. Let's travel on. What's going to happen this coming year? Well, I've got my hot rod Himalayan right there. We are going to take that wonderful machine all the way to Alaska this year. That's the big plan. And if y'all want to go, let's work out a deal. I'll put the dates out, and I think it's going to be the middle of June to the middle of July. It's going to take about a month, and it should be a fun trip. And if you're interested in something like that, let me know. Let me know. We'll get a website page going or something, a Facebook page going, and we'll figure that out. But this motorcycle has got to be one of the best motorcycles I've ever owned in my life, and I've owned quite a few motorcycles, and I think this bike will do it quite well. We're going to continue to work it up to get it geared up properly and see what we can do with it. So the channel is going to focus next year on long rides. That's the kind of riding I like to do. We're going to do the Alaska trip. We're going to do a lot of rides around America. We're going to talk about bike setups and gear and things like that. We're going to gain a lot of information, and I'm really looking forward to that. One of the kind of odd questions that I find odd is everybody wants to know a little bit about me. I'm not that interesting of a guy. As a matter of fact, if I didn't ride motorcycles, you probably wouldn't care about me. But I'll give you a little bit of info. I grew up in the Philippines. I got into motorcycle riding because of we had a minister named Eli Bercero, and I was about 4 or 5 years old. And after church every Sunday, I don't know about every Sunday, but I would beg him for a ride. And he had a little. This is back in the '60s, and he had a little two-stroke. I think it was a Yamaha. It had white paint and chrome, and he laughed heartily while he rode that bike, and he rode full throttle. He smoked, he drank, guy would like to have fun, and he kind of set the stage for that. A couple of years later, my dad bought himself a Honda CB125. This is in the Philippines again, and of course he wouldn't let me have anything to do with it. I read the book cover to cover, and the manual that came with the bike, and I taught myself how to ride a motorcycle by reading, of all things. Isn't that crazy? And he went on a trip, my dad, and I got that book out, and I got the wiring diagram out, and the key to me was just a switch. So I crossed those two wires, got that bike riding, and that's how I started riding motorcycles. Now, to my dad's credit, when we left the Philippines, came back to Iowa, he bought me a brand new, maybe a year old KE 100, and that was my favorite bike growing up. And he was, years later, maybe 20 years ago, he and I were canoeing, and he was in the front of the boat, and I was paddling in the back, and all I can see is the backside of him. And he says out loud, he says, I bet you thought I didn't know you were stealing my Honda back in the day. And I didn't say anything. And he said, who do you think always made sure it had gas? That's a good old dad, right? Later in life, after I retired, dear old dad got ill, and I started taking care of him. And in order to get away from life, I would go motorcycle riding. That's how, he had become an invalid, and I didn't want to put him in a nursing home. And I would go motorcycle riding. Baxter Cycle, and I'm going to bring them up because they're very important to all this. They were 30 miles away, and I would go there, and they put up with me. and they let me ride their motorcycles, and they were friendly, and they still are. They're very good people there, and I saw how they treated everybody that came through their door, and it was a very positive experience for me. I started making videos, and you know, it just blossomed into this, you know, wonderful thing where I've been able to ride. You know, this year we rode at least 55,000 miles, but on average it's about 40,000 miles a year. Dad passed away a year ago, so this year I was able to get a few more miles in. So 55,000 miles this year with the help of y'all and Baxter Cycle and Royal Enfield, and probably more than that, because those are the hard numbers I could find on my particular motorcycles that you know, I actually did miles on, and then I'm guessing there's at least 5,000 miles worth of, or more, of riding that I did on, you know, they lent me a bike, somebody lent me a bike, and I put 300-400 miles on it. I did that many times throughout the year. So quite a wonderful deal. I really appreciate that. The other one is Royal Enfield. The company, I don't have any direct relationship with them, but I have met them, and a lot of the people in the American part, and they've been relatively responsive. You know, they allowed us to pick these motorcycles up the day they were released, this brand new Himalayan. You know, the day these were released in the American market, we were able to pick up a couple of them, and they've been, you know, very supportive from afar. You know, and I really appreciate the company. The company is phenomenal. I got into Royal Enfield by accident almost. Baxter kind of forced them on me. I wouldn't ride their bikes because, you know, they were just some little old Indian motorcycles. What do I care about them, you know? And Baxter Cycle lent me a Himalayan, told me to ride it for a day. And after that day, I was totally hooked. I put 180 miles on it, totally hooked on the brand. And since then, I think I'm on my 5th Himalayan. I've got, that was my first one over yonder. No, that's not mine anymore. I traded that off for this. I have this Royal Enfield also. This is a 350 Classic. I just love that bike. And on the other side of this thing here is my Super Meteor. I've got about 12,000 miles on it. That's about a year old. And I'm showing this off here. This is a friend of mine is going to pick that up here pretty soon. Anyway, and then this is my latest Enfield. But oh, and I got this. Somebody sent me this. Isn't that cool? Came in the mail. It's a quilt, motorcycle quilt. Other people I'd like to shout out to real quick. Of course, everybody that watches the channel, y'all are great. I'd like to shout out to Steve in Omaha, a good friend. Hope you're doing better. Of course, Baxter Cycle and Royal Enfield. Now, I don't want to drag this video out too long, but we're going to have fun next year, and I hope y'all, you know, come along and enjoy the fun, you know. Comment and post. Let me know what's going on in your lives, my friend. Life is good. Life is good. Get out there and ride. Wahoo!
Ready? 1, 2, 3. Wahoo!